Good morning. I'm Michelle Antonessi, and I will be this morning's worship associate. Welcome to Tapestry. We're happy to have you with us this morning. We are a welcoming congregation that honors diversity, invites people to bring their sincere questions, challenges, and joys. We value being together and building multi-generational community. This hour is an opportunity to reflect and open ourselves to encounter the sacred. Thank you for your patience as we are all learning this new way to be together in community. Please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout the service. We would love to see your smiling faces though. If you have a candle or chalice at home, you may want to find it now so that we can light our chalice together in a moment. Now please take a moment to greet one another in the chat function.
Suzanne, are you expecting somebody?
You'll be able to continue your conversations after the service. This Zoom meeting will remain open for people to connect by chat. This is the Sunday when we celebrate birthdays for the month. If you have a May birthday, please type your name in the chat box. Melissa will play happy birthday.
Sorry, I was not told ahead of time that this was birthday Sunday, so I do not have the birthday song ready to roll. But happy birthday, everybody.
Sorry, well, happy birthday, everybody. We are a busy congregation with activities for all ages and interests. We are still active with several meetings on Zoom and social justice actions you can take from home. Tapestry's annual business meeting will be on June 14th from 11:30 to 12:30. It will take place on Zoom in the same meeting as that morning service. And we have community meditation every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. No meditation experience is necessary. Information about these events and more, including how to connect to them, is available in the order of service, the newsletter, or on our website. This morning's theme is a time for discernment. During stressful times, it's easy to avoid taking the time to clear our heads and think. At least it has been for me over these past couple of months, and I'm certain I'm not alone in that. I recently read a tweet that made me laugh and resonated a bit. Kevin Farzad, a comedian and musician, said, "My favorite part of quarantine is that we were all forced to be alone with our thoughts for a little bit." And everyone was like, "Absolutely not. I will learn to bake bread from scratch." The enormity of what's happening can be difficult to wrap one's mind around, and I know that I often need a distraction to give my brain and my heart a break from thinking about the pain and suffering that this pandemic has brought. But as this disease has sent many of us home, we also have time to consider how it is changing our world and us, if we're willing and able to set aside distractions to discern those changes. So what has changed for me, and what do I hope to hold on to once we move into our new normal? I hope that as we move forward, even with maybe less alone, maybe with less time at home, I will continue to carry forward with the intentionality I've had in staying connected to friends and family. In my pre-socially distanced life, I wasn't always great at staying in touch with people. There were a couple of people that I was in close contact with, but most others I would call or text only if I had a reason to. These days, I find myself more likely to shoot friends or family a text when I think about them, or to pick up the phone and give them a call to see how they're doing. I try to check in regularly with my friends who are at home alone. I call my aunt and uncle just to make sure they're doing all right. On social media, I try to comment more instead of just clicking a like button. I even occasionally join a Zoom happy hour or game night. I have always wanted to do a bit better at keeping in touch with people, particularly nurturing the relationships with people that I couldn't see regularly. But I wasn't great at putting in the time and effort. Well, stay-at-home orders have given me the time. And while virtually connecting with people can sometimes be tiring, I am grateful to have so many options to connect with my loved ones right now. But I know that nurturing these connections shouldn't be limited to getting through a global pandemic. As different states, counties, and municipalities contemplate how to move forward, I am also considering how to move forward and what I want to take from this experience. I don't want to go back to just taking for granted that we're all busy and use that as an excuse to not stay in touch with the people that are important to me. So in this time for discernment, as we consider moving forward, I, above all, will try to hold on to the intentionality in connecting with my people. Now, please light your own candle or chalice as we light our tapestry chalice. For the gift of this day and our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. Please join me in reading our covenant and sing our song of affirmation. Because Zoom can only recognize one voice at a time, please keep your microphones muted, but read along with me in your homes. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another.
Our call to worship this morning comes from the Reverend Natalie Fenimore. She writes, Shirley Chisholm was asked why she, a Black woman, was running for president. You don't have a chance. Why are you doing that? And she said, because I'm in love with the America that does not yet exist. That's how Unitarian Universalism is also. I'm in love with the Unitarian Universalism that does not yet exist. But I have to hold both the love for that thing and the love for the reality. It does not yet exist. It will probably not exist in my lifetime. I don't think it will in that of my children, but I can't deny my love for it. You know, wanting to be there in that struggle. That's why I'm fighting. So friends, thank you for being here at Tapestry today as we build the faith tradition that might one day exist. Thank you for joining in the work and the worship of Unitarian Universalism as we move forward together. Our opening hymn this morning is called Gather the Spirit. It's number 347, and Penny is here to lead us in our singing. This morning, for our young and young at heart, for our time for all ages, I have a story that you may have heard before. It's a very famous traditional story from China. It's called A Farmer's Horse Ran Off. It's said that one day, a farmer's horse ran off, and try as he might, the farmer couldn't catch him. His neighbor, seeing what had happened, rushed to the farmer's side and said, "Oh, how sad for you. Now you've no horse to haul your wood." The farmer just looked down at the dust in the distance and said, "I don't know if it's bad or if it's good." The next day, the horse came back with a mate, a beautiful wild mare it had found in the fields. And then when the neighbor saw the two horses in the farmer's stall, he said, "How good for you, you must be glad." Once again, the farmer said, "I don't know if it's good or if it's bad." The next day, the farmer's son decided to tame the new wild horse. The horse threw the boy and stepped on his leg and broke it. The farmer rushed into the fields, and as he was lifting the broken boy, the neighbor saw what had happened. The neighbor ran to the farmer and said, "Oh, how bad for you. Your sorrow is awful." And the farmer looked up with tears in his eyes and said once again, "I don't know if it's bad or if it's good." In time, this same country went to war, and all the able-bodied young people were conscripted into the army. The farmer, with his arm around his limping boy, and the neighbor stood alongside the road as row after row of young people marched off to the battlefield. The neighbor wiped a tear from his eye and waved goodbye to his own son, who looked away who marched away in sturdy stride. He turned to the farmer and said, "How good for you! Your son is home. You must be glad." Again, the farmer sighed. "I don't know if it is good or if it is bad. This is a story without an end. Take from it what you will, my friend." That is the story of the farmer whose horse ran off.
A responsive reading by Rainier Maria Wilkie. Please keep your mics muted as you read along. Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and to try to love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers which could not be given to you now, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer.
Everybody is a wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is a worry about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack. Some say they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Everybody is a wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is a worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say they're going to a place called glory, and I ain't saying it ain't a fact. But I've heard that I'm on the road to purgatory, and I don't like the sound of that. I believe in love and I live my life accordingly. But I choose to let the mystery be. Everybody is a wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is a worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Think I'll just let the mystery be.
Would you join me for a short time of prayer or meditation? Spirit of life, God of many names, mystery beyond naming, we gather in thanks for this good day. In this time together, let us find some stillness. Not just stillness for our bodies, we've had plenty of that, but stillness for our hearts and for our minds. While so much is known about, well, unknown about pretty much everything these days, let us remember what we do know. That life is a gift. It's good to be connected in this community. And this connection reminds us of a huge web of life. We are held in love. Today, let us find stillness in our hearts and our minds. Enough stillness to fully embrace what we do know. We join now for a short time of silent meditation or prayer. Namaste. Amen and blessed be. It's been fun to hear of all the hobbies that people are starting or resuming these days in social distancing. Several of you are making masks to donate. I've seen some magnificent quilts being made. Everyone is getting creative with their cooking. It seems like you have to. I heard a very cool suggestion of one of the mothers in our congregation. She asked her daughter to keep a journal of this moment in history. She very rightfully explained to her daughter that decades from now, she'll want to look back and remember what this important time in history taught her. 2020, the year the world shut down, is going to be one for the history books. You want to know how you filled these days. Maybe even more, you'll want to know what you were thinking and feeling during this momentous time. It can be very easy to forget what we've learned in life. A lot of you as Tapestry members have had the opportunity to spend time in other countries. And even on the best adventures, As the trip wears on, usually after about a week, you start missing some of the things that you enjoy about home. Others of you have had the opportunity to go on extended outdoor adventures. The experience of missing things happens a little faster outdoors. Usually after a few days, you start reminiscing about having a hot shower and a comfy bed. As time wears on, you start craving particular types of food, especially fresh fruits and vegetables, and the types of things that you can't carry with you easily. Through camping and travel, I've had many of these conversations. It's usually framed as, what's the first thing that you're going to do when we get home? Or what's the first thing you're going to eat? The answers are sometimes funny and unexpected. Peanut butter is surprisingly difficult to find in many parts of the world. I often find myself craving Chinese food after traveling for some reason. And of course, the basic comforts of a hot shower and your own bed are always at the top of the list. You get home, you enjoy your food, you unpack, you enjoy your shower and go to bed. Depending on where you've been and for how long, it doesn't take that long to settle back into the way things were before the adventure. It doesn't take long to begin to take your daily life for granted again. It's just the way things are. This is the way we live. So today's sermon is the first in a few of this type. Later, we'll have Tapestry members and one of our guest speakers over the summer will reflect on what we've learned during this time of coronavirus. I suspect that those services will be different, partially because they're spaced out with a month or so in between. They'll also be different because different people are delivering them. Different people's experiences have brought them different insights over the past few months. Of course, each of you have had your own experience of social distancing. It will be up to you to weed through the mess and to pick out the lessons, to distill out what is valuable, and then to hang on to what you've learned. Like returning home from an adventure, it will take intention and effort to hold on to what we've learned in these days. When I say there's something to be learned or gained in this pandemic, of course, I don't mean to diminish the loss of life, the loss of income, the loss of human connection that it has dealt us. There has been tremendous suffering, and there is still a hefty dose to come. This is why I wanted to share with you that brilliant Chinese folk story of the man whose horse ran away. We learn in that story that loss is often married with unexpected gain, and unexpected fortune shouldn't be held too tightly, for it too may run out one day. Rather than holding on too tightly to the present or worrying about the future, we do much better to accept the fact that life is a long, complicated journey with lots of opportunities to learn and to grow. The thing that I most want to remember from this time is that the power of human presence is irreplaceable. Being with people is important for feeling good, for making decisions, for making art, for so many of the things that are essential to us. Being together in the same room is golden. And technology has made a noble effort to fill the gap. I'm deeply grateful both to the technology and the people who help us use it effectively. For the most part, technology is an effort to simulate real-life interaction. I say this often, maybe it's because I need to remind my introverted self, but we are social animals. We're hardwired to live and to thrive in community. We all knew that in theory. This past couple of months, we all got to participate in a bizarre, uncomfortable experiment of social isolation. This is the number one thing that I hope to never forget from this year. Human presence is magical. Part of that is because it was so easy to take for granted just a few months ago. Sure, I'll see you in a few days. We'll meet up at Tapestry. Let's get coffee. Did you see that new movie? Dinner at Linda's was delicious. Thanks for watching the kids this afternoon. That was a lifesaver. Oh, I'll just stop by and pick it up. It was so easy to be with one another. We took many of those encounters for granted. I hope that we remember what a gift it is to be together. What a gift we are to each other. It reminds me of the old saying, 90% of success is showing up. 90% of success is showing up. A huge portion of our faith tradition is about respecting other people, showing compassion, being kind, deepening relationships, transforming systems of oppression into communities of justice. And there are countless pages written about how to do those things, how to demonstrate compassion, and how to create justice. While those efforts have continued through the internet the past few months, I still think we cannot overestimate the power of showing up to the communities and the causes we care about. One of the best pieces of showing up is that it doesn't require us to have the right words or the answer. Just putting in the effort to be there in person speaks volumes. In fact, that's one of the most important pieces of compassion. It's not always about having the right words or being able to solve someone else's problem. Sometimes compassion is about not knowing what to do, but being there anyway. Being there and letting your heart lead the way through the sometimes confusing and messy moments. I want to talk about another big piece of personal learning from social distancing, but first, I want you to think of a person and a particular moment when someone has supported you by just showing up in person. When has someone stood by you? Not with the perfect answer, but just to be there with you in a challenge or a celebration. Maybe it was a parent or a friend or someone in this community. Think of a person and a time that someone showed up in your life. And if you're willing to share with us, describe that moment in a sentence in the chat box. One sentence: who showed up for you when you needed someone? The other big learning that I'm taking away from this experience of social distancing is how important technology is. I've never been an early adopter of technology. I didn't race out to get the latest gadget. I certainly didn't stand in line for a phone. As technologies were introduced to me, I've accepted them somewhat reluctantly. I'm someone that deeply embraces a tactile, live, in-person experience of the world. Whether that's relating to people or experiencing different places, there's no replacement for the real thing. And sometimes the real thing just isn't available. Whether due to a pandemic or the reality of our modern, highly mobile lives that separate us at great distances. When we can't be there in person, it only makes sense to try to bridge the gap in the best ways that we can. For hundreds of years, people have debated about how technology would impact human intelligence and relationships. Technology is everywhere, and it's everything that we use. Even for our basic living, we depend on engineering of the world around us to make tools. Technology is the construction of our homes, no matter how simple. It's the ability to find and prepare and preserve food. It's as simple as collecting water to drink. Unfortunately, that rudimentary technology that was first used to hunt animals to eat was also quickly used to combat other humans, or probably pre-humans. Just as much as we depend on technology to survive in a harsh world, so do we use it against one another in horrifying ways. From the weapon to the construction of homes, the use of technology is a complicated experience with tremendous capacity to bring us together or to drive us apart. It seems to me that no one with any sense can rightfully claim that technology is all good or all bad. It simply is. It's part of what we do as humans. What matters more is how we choose to use it. Over the past few months, I have cursed Zoom. Some of us were cursing it this morning as it crashed across the country. I'm glad it came back for us to use this morning. There have been hiccups getting people online and connected. The sound gets messy when there's anything happening in the background. And frankly, it's a lot harder to facilitate a conversation online, along with countless thousands of other people still working. And mind you, we are grateful to still have jobs. Some days we curse Zoom, and then we remember how amazing this technology is. Not just that it exists, but that it's so ubiquitous that it's nearly free to those who have access to the internet. We never would have been able to afford video conferencing for Tapestry 10 years ago. Now our ability to see and talk to each other is a negligible expense. That's incredible. Through the coronavirus, I found new gratitude for technology. It's not something that I enjoy, but it's something that I'm going to have to accept and even embrace. Like many of you, I learned what was necessary to function in the 90s, and then in the 2000s, and then in the 2010s. Each time I learned it, I have a sense of, okay, that's it, I got it, I can do this. But here's the deal. There's always more. This online connectivity isn't going away. It's too convenient, it's too effective, and too cheap for us to let go of all this connection and to go back to driving all over the place. And the reduced impact on the environment has been absolutely amazing. It seems that religious communities this year are coming to realize what retail businesses did in the 2000s. We cannot thrive without a vibrant online presence. And that probably means more than a website that guides people on how to get to a building on Sunday mornings or what to expect when they get here. I have a growing sense that going forward, Tapestry will need to provide opportunities to engage in good, meaningful worship online, and opportunities to build real relationships with other members through digital engagement. Technology or in person is not an either-or proposition. Building opportunities for online engagement will improve our ability to live our values in person. I have a bit of a dream in my head of where we might be headed. When the coronavirus turned life upside down, my framework was, how do we take what we're doing on Sunday mornings and put it online? Well, I think we might have to change that question and ask it in reverse. It may be time to start asking, how do we create a vibrant online experience and meld that into what we're doing in person here in our building? Don't worry, I don't have the knowledge or the time or the money to make any big changes happen quickly. But I'm wondering, not just with Tapestry, but with my life, even when we have won this battle against coronavirus, how will we continue to use technology to enrich our lives? There's no turning back the hands of time. It's likely that we won't return to business as usual, as if none of this ever happened. Even when things open, the global economy is going to look different. Our local economy will look different. Instead of thinking of when we go back, I encourage us all to think of going forward. What are the things that we've learned from coronavirus and social distancing that will inform our lives going forward? How can we better live out our values based on what we've learned this year? The onset of coronavirus and this social distancing stuff was really just the beginning of a journey. And that's one thing I always appreciate about Tapestry, that we are up for an adventure. Amen. It's the custom of this congregation to share half of our Sunday morning offering with an organization that shares our values. This month, half of your gift will be shared with Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and their legal battles to protect this earth that we all love and that protects us. So as we enjoy this music, may you be moved to generosity. You can go give online, or now we have a text to give option, so you can try that out too. Thanks.
Extinguish this flame, knowing the light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together again.
If you are who you were, if none of us has changed since the day we came to this community, then we have failed. The purpose of this community, of any church, temple, mosque, is to help its people grow. We do this through encounters with the mystery, encounters with our neighbors. Encounters have so many gifts to offer. So may we leave one another this morning, remembering the impact these good people have had on us, and open to receive the transforming lessons our world has yet to teach us. Go in peace. Let the light within you be a blessing to the world.